guys? It's your host from the Breath Review Show. Let's fire up this first gaming impression or slash review. Ha! Nachos. The game I'm doing like my own impression of is Dragon Ball Fighter Z. Dragon Ball Fighter Z bring it to like new technically to the Dragon Ball Z franchise, and it offers a new story or a new way of fighting that gives characters such as Yamcha, Tien, Krillin, and Gotenks a chance to shine. Yes, especially Yamcha. And to be quite honest, Yamcha is very useful in the game. And I myself has always been a supporter of the Dragon Ball Z franchise. I've been watching the anime since the start, Dragon Ball. But to mention from like Dragon Ball to DBZ to DBZ Kai and now Dragon Ball Super. Yes, I've watched the non-canon series GT, but along with the games themselves, such as Budokai Tenkaichi, Raging Blast 1 and 2, Battle Z, Xenoverse 1 and 2, and just to name a few. And the Dragon Ball FighterZ story introduces a new villain that's just more devious than any villain that any of the Goku and his friends have faced before. And she's called Android 21. Her goal is pretty much take over the world, take over the universe, and she claims that she needs strong fighters to do it. But her overall goal is to actually devour strong fighters and make herself powerful. Because in a way, she's just like Cell. And like I said. She's pretty damn devious, and don't let her attractive figure fool you. I've already given my opinion about how she's probably one of the best villains out there that's not out there. It's not exactly canon just yet. And like I said, she's like Cell, but the little difference is that she looks a little bit more like a Majin, like Majin Buu. But with the tail of Frieza, and her basic form looks human, just prowling around in a science coat, and my camera's gonna die. That's gonna tick me off. But the whole thing that surrounds the story is that she's part of the Red Ribbon Army. She's the new leader, and really has a sweet tooth for sweets. And you wonder why. You find out later on in the game that she uses a machine that emits pulse waves to make very strong fighters unable to really unleash their full extent of their power. It puts them in such a state of hibernation that it also affects villains, especially Android 21 herself. And part of the goal for that is to use a human soul using a link system to bond another soul to a body, and then trying to take control of that soul so that soul could take control of the body, and they can have a whole army of that to pretty much control a lot of strong fighters to take over the world with, or the universe. Let's see. In the hero arc, you obviously get bonded with Goku. Obviously. But in the enemy arc, you get accidentally linked to Frieza. And pretty much just the same story. Just you don't have all the details. Where one, you end up on the Kai planet to finish her off. And the other one, you're still on Earth to finish her off. And the objective for the game itself is to just go around all these maps and get experience, rescue your allies, have them join you, and to take on Android 21. And you see, like, Beerus and Whis show up at the beginning and they show up at the end to see the end fight, to see the conclusion. And let's see. But then there's a point in the enemy arc that you don't really, that you probably expected, but yet wouldn't really expect, especially from Frieza, because Frieza at least shows consideration for his subordinates. Even though he might find someone like Ginyu really embarrassing and annoying, he still shows consideration because Ginyu has a lot of respect for Frieza. And I wouldn't say he's really a strong fighter, but he's one of the, you could say, one of the most trusted, because he ended up surviving the longest. In some sort of way, surviving the longest. Android 21, on the other hand, she shows no consideration. She has no care for her subordinates. And it shows to what she did to Android 16. She punishes him both physically and emotionally. And there's a point in there that Android 16 could be Android 21's son. Like he was that she had a son at one point, that she was married at one point, and her son became an android. And then that's, you know, we know that in the hero arc, she just flat out kills him. In the enemy arc, she literally punishes him and embarrasses him, both physically and emotionally, before she kills him. And again, he doesn't do a thing. He just sits there and takes it. She didn't expect him to win in the first place. She calls him a traitor and all that. But still, she has that point of Frieza. It's like anyone gets in the way, he just kills them off, destroys them. And basically the ending is almost like, hey, let's just push this button or push this thing as far as we can go, and then just finish it off in one final push. And in the final arc, everything just comes together. You find out that Android 16 was actually protecting a good part of Android 21, like Android 21 was split in half. And then you find out the whole thing, like the bad Android 21 accepted her unquenchable hunger, where the good 21 did not, and was struggling with it. And you don't see 17 at all in the first two arcs, but in the last arc you do see 17, and he takes part with 18 and Goku and the rest of them to take on Android 21. Android 16 is obviously gone, but Android 18 herself was actually left unconscious, hurt and unconscious in both arcs. We see why, because Android 21 set her up, but you never really got to the machine until the final arc. So, and then you still couldn't do anything about it because Android 21 swallowed the remote. So the only way to unleash your true extent of your power for your characters is if you beat her. And but just like in the first arc, in the final arc, they go back to the Kai planet and they use the spirit bomb to take on to completely obliterate her, just like they did with Kid Buu. But Android 21, the good Android 21, makes an ultimate sacrifice and attacks the evil Android 21, so that both sides of Android 21 are completely destroyed. So the same thing doesn't happen all over again. But the story itself does not actually affect the gameplay whatsoever. And the story is actually, in my opinion, a laugh. It's enjoyable, but you spend most of the time laughing at the stupid sarcastic jokes that just happen to come along. And it's something that you could just watch, enjoy, forget about. the gameplay, the fighting, the main part of the game reminds me of the very old Street Fighter games, where you have restricted movement. You can't fly around or escape like you can in Xenoverse or any other games, where you just run around and charge up and then fire, or just completely obliterate, use your super ultimate attack and be done. But though the controls are simple and easy to use, you do, in my opinion, take it with a grain of salt, it's still quite irritating, because when you want to use your super attacks or your special attacks, no matter how fast or how slow or how you do it. I mean, they give you, hey, you do this, Kamehameha. You do that, nothing happens. You do it again, nothing happens. You do it again, nothing happens. So the fight ensues. So you're fighting your guy, you're beating the heck out of him, you're moving up, down, side, whatever, you're moving around, and then all of a sudden Kamehameha comes out. Basically what I'm pointing out is it feels like button mashing. In Street Fighter, when you want to use your other attacks, it's boom boom this button. That's it. Boom boom this button. Back twice, boom. A or B, whatever. It's very simple. Very, very simple. Just like that when you want to use it. But with Dragon Ball FighterZ, you have to do all these certain combos, and sometimes you find yourself getting so into it that you can use both the directional pad and the left stick. You can use that, which I find myself doing that a lot, because that's how I'm able to get these moves to come out, like the Kamehameha.